Right, hello, welcome back to Nonsense Nature for our second episode of a lot more nonsense and probably a lot more nature, hopefully.
Yeah,
Uh,
a bit like that, yeah.
how are you doing?
I'm alright. You alright?
Doing okay, doing
Well
okay.
done,
It's
Sam.
very hot for the last couple of days, hasn't it?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah, hopefully the weather has not impacted your garden or anything as such. But luckily we haven't got any hose bands or anything like that yet. Right, so today we are talking about butterflies. What we want to do is go over sort of some of the common ones that you might find in your garden and potentially how to attract them as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll have a couple of chats about that. We'll talk about, to start with, I will want to bring up some of the statistics that I was reading up on about the butterfly population. So unless you've got anything else to add for our introduction, I'll get going with it.
Well, yeah, because, yeah, hopefully we'll cover a few bits on the way through.
Yeah,
And hopefully we might be able to cover a couple of little bits that they don't know nothing about.
yeah, we don't know.
Well,
That's sort of the idea of this,
I
hopefully.
don't know nothing anyway, so I'd be learning.
You're just here for the
I'm
fun of
here
it.
for I'm here for the,
Now,
yeah.
now, before we start, I just want to say our aim is we want to hit 500 subscribers by sort of, I guess, the next sort of month if we can. And if we can do that, we're going to just start trying to get some guests on board and actually get some experts in the field.
People didn't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, people
Yeah,
actually know what we're talking
yeah,
about. We'll
yeah.
sort of try and pretend like we know what's going on. We're not professionals at any of this, so as you can tell, but we're learning as you are. So yeah, here's some butterfly flags. There's been two surveys done. This is 2022's data, but yeah, apparently so overall there's been about a 50% decrease in the distribution of butterflies. Now that sounds really bad, and it
Yeah,
is.
it is bad, yeah.
That's particularly because of the habitual butterflies, which basically means a specialised habitat, and they have decreased by 27%. So that's probably about maybe property developments, habitats being destroyed. That's probably the main reason for those. Obviously, we've got climate change as well, so that probably plays a factor into it. But yeah, and then the other thing, which I guess is a slightly brighter side, is that the actual overall abundance of butterflies has only decreased by 6%. So it means that technically,
That's pretty good.
yeah, technically we've still decreased in our butterfly population, but we still do have butterflies about. I know in the last sort of couple of weeks it's been huge. I mean, we're seeing loads. Recently, we've seen a lot on a couple of walks, haven't we?
Yeah.
When you do walk, anyway.
Well, we do walk.
Well, what we
Yeah,
do,
well.
but yeah. So yeah, the other thing though, a good point. I don't know. A lot of people probably might be familiar with common butterflies. These are very common now, no pun intended. But these are actually increased by almost 100% on their distribution. So they've been scattered across the UK now, going a lot further. And they've also increased by about 230% or 203, sorry, percent in how many there are. Well, it's great for commas, not so good for the other butterflies that aren't doing so well. So they're probably some of the main facts I wanted to say. So yeah, I think now we'll get on to the top six common butterflies and how to sort of let them into your garden. Unless you've got anything to add again to that.
Well, no, it's just I think carry on through because what to the extent I got this wonderful little thing here. It you don't see them nowadays, of course, but they're brilliant books. Um, but I just opened it and I saw that butterfly there. If you can see it, I'd never seen one. I don't think in all my years. But we were out for a walk the other day, walking along the coast down at near Weymouth, and lo and behold, there was one there, and I just pointed out to Sam now that it's just amazing because I haven't seen one, and yet we're in such a decline really of butterflies and that, and there's one that I'd never seen before. I knew about it, but never seen it. But there we are.
Yeah, well, there's a lot in this book, but yeah. I mean, for me though, I just use ChatGPT now and just ask all the different types of butterflies, which is always interesting. It is where some of this information's come from, but all source. So don't worry, it's not random. So I want to now bring up the top five butterflies. We'll start off with the commas because why not? Now, I think it's important to note that there's quite a few of these actually butterflies love nettles.
Yeah, yeah.
That's a lot of them lay their
Stinging
legs
nettle
on
is
them.
so important. It's so important to wildlife. Any lots of wildlife. Yeah,
Yeah, and so although you may not love nettles in your garden, they are really good for a lot of these butterflies laying
absolutely.
eggs. The other one that I've got, if you want to attract them, apparently a lot of buddleia is really good for
Yeah,
butterflies, and
yeah,
thistles is really good again.
yeah,
The other ones I've got are clover and
yeah.
I don't know, I've not heard this one. Bird's foot trefoil.
Yeah,
What's that one?
it's like a vetch type thing.
A veg.
Yeah, sort of. Yeah,
Yeah, with Red Admirals, we'll try and put some images up
I know
for
what
each
you're
of
saying.
them. But yeah, some of the facts I've got a couple of like fun facts about each one. The Red Admiral is apparently quite a fearless butterfly. I mean, and apparently they're quite common to land on people.
Yeah,
I
they
think
do.
I think
Yeah,
I've had one on me before
yeah.
actually, but they are beautiful. I mean, all butterflies I just think look amazing, don't they?
Mm.
And if you can get one to land on you, that's all the better.
Well, I was going to say that the buddleia. The buddleia again is everyone knows. Well, I would assume that everyone knows, but it's very again important to butterflies because if you've got a buddleia around, it'll always have butterflies on it. But now they're classing it as an invasive species, and so which that tells people to get rid of them. Well, if it's an invasive species and all our creatures love it, then surely you can't call it an invasive species to get rid of. And because they're looking at these knotweed and all that stuff like that, it's putting it all in that category, which I'm very much against on that. It's crazy. The other thing which this is probably going offline a little bit, but I feel as though I should. Everybody also, whenever you look on the web and wondering, they're telling you how to get rid of ivy. Now, ivy is again another bit like the nettles. It's got so much food in it in respect of the birds in and out of the things and that in and out all the little bits and whatnot. But when it actually flowers, which you probably don't notice it in a normal way, like what I do because I got the stuff, I got plenty of it. But it's covered when the flower is covered in butterflies and bees and wasps. Wasps love, which I must admit, I'm not a wasp fan, but the wasps are covered the ivy flowers, and I had outside of my window on one morning. This was last year. I had six butterflies feeding just on that one little patch, and it was marvelous. So yeah, ivy, in the right place, okay. You don't want it really going up your walls and that. But ivy
Well,
and that sort of the two things. I'm sorry, but
that's
right
right.
on about that.
Bees and wasps are an episode that I think we'll do
Yeah,
in the
that's
future.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
yeah, I mean, we've already hit the 10-minute mark, so we've got to speed through this now. So a fun fact about the red admirals, as I said, that they might hopefully land on your arm. So now with the second one, peacock butterfly, another very common species.
yeah,
They're very sort of the eye-shaped patterns on the wings.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, they do look amazing whenever you see them out and about. But apparently, they make a hissing sound to deter predators, which I
yeah.
must admit, I've not heard that sound before. But
I don't think we would hear it.
no, but yeah,
Yeah.
if you're hearing a hissing sound, maybe it's not a snake, maybe it's a peacock butterfly.
Yeah,
Don't know how loud it is. But again, yeah, they love nettles and nectar, as I said, buddleia. So a lot of these are quite similar. A lot of butterflies like similar things. Now, a small tortoise shell.
yeah. Don't see many of them now.
No, these have been declining a fair bit, I think,
Yeah.
in recent years. But apparently, yeah, they hibernate in houses during winter. So when they're adults, they sort of live through it. But when they close their wings, they're pretty camouflage.
When they hibernate though, and this is where it's always difficult you think, oh, we ought to let that out, but and let it fly around. Don't do that because they haven't got any mouths. They can't feed. and when they in the spring or when they leave that hibernation, they don't feed. They just go out to mate, and that's it, and then they die. So that they haven't got the ability to carry on with life, unlike us,
Well,
where you keep stuffing it.
yeah, I didn't even know that was a thing,
Yeah,
but sure.
yeah.
Yeah. Then okay. Well, and number 4 is the painted lady. Another very common one. I don't know if they're
Used to
how
be.
they're doing
Used to be common,
nowadays.
but no.
Sort of the orange black patterns on the wings. But I didn't realise this, but they actually migrate from North Africa.
Amazing.
Traveling up to 1,000 miles.
It's just crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So yeah, 1,000 miles. I don't know if I could be bothered to be flying that far.
That's
But
providing
anyway.
the wind's going the right way.
Yeah. Well, to be honest, that's probably one of the main reasons why maybe
that's
they're
why I
not
can
so
do it,
so
yeah.
common
Yeah.
as well nowadays. Common blue. You were saying earlier that you haven't seen any
No,
of
I've
these this
seen
year.
no blues at all this year. None at all.
Well, these, as per the name, they've got blue wings, and the females are brown and orange spots
Yeah,
with it.
they're pretty in their own way.
Yeah,
Very pretty, actually.
apparently, yeah, the common blues used to be like they just cover a field, and that's
Yeah.
sort of why they're common blues, because you'd see them covering
Yeah.
fields and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
absolutely.
Nowadays, again, probably not so
Everywhere.
much.
Yeah.
But they very much like to the huddle together. We've got the brimstone, which is apparently this is I didn't know this, but apparently they're believed to be the inspiration for the word
Yeah.
butterfly due to their butter yellow
I didn't
colour.
know that.
So yeah, but because of their colour, that's why
Yeah.
brimstones might be the source of the butterfly.
And I think they must be one of the first ones you will see actually. I always think they're the first ones you do see, because they're very distinctive in their being a beautiful yellow, and so they're quite early, I think.
Well, apparently these quite like buckthorn as well. So if you
Yeah.
have any buckthorn in your garden, that might be worth investing in, or maybe not investing, just
Yeah.
chucking some out.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, the next one, I've actually got 8 here. So meadow brown is another one.
Oh, lovely.
Apparently these are supposed to be one of the most widespread butterflies in the UK. But again, I don't know if that's probably changed in recent years.
Haymaking, that's when we used to do haymaking, that the place would be covered in them, the fields would be covered in them. They're here, but we're nowhere in the quantities that we used to see as kids and that. But then again, we were always out running around in the countryside, so we would have seen more anyway. But lovely little bird.
Yeah, well, yeah, as you rightly say, they're much more common when you get like in grasses, hay, stuff like that. So yeah, and then the last one I've got is the comma butterfly, which I talked about earlier about their increase in population.
Beautiful.
But the reason why they're called a comma is under their wing they have got like a white looking comma, which is where it actually comes from, and they got very jaggedy edges, so you can usually spot them pretty easily.
Is that the same one?
Yeah, we've got a moth in here.
Sorry, we've got a moth, and a beautiful moth. I'm not.
I'm hoping in another episode we'll do moths and actually maybe explain what the difference is, because I'm not 100% sure, to be honest. I think that's probably our main topics of conversation today. If you have any more questions about butterflies or want butterfly experts to come on.
The one thing, if I might say,
Yeah, go ahead.
This year, I've never seen so many gatekeepers. Beautiful little brown thing, with a dot on each wing, and I've had so many at home. I've just seen one now this morning coming in here in Sam's Garden. And when we walked along the coast down near Weymouth a few weeks ago, they were all along there, weren't they?
Yeah.
There
was a lot of gatekeepers.
I've never seen so many little gatekeepers.
We're down the southwest, so that's sort of
we're
to give you some reference of where we are.
Wiltshire.
Yeah.
As you might be able to tell from my accent now and
Well,
again.
I think some people could confuse yours with more like a Somerset one as well.
Our Somerset course
You're kind of similar to that,
yeah,
isn't
we're
it?
a little bit. Yeah. They ain't dafter than what we are, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
It ain't as strong an
the-
army either. What
no
we
comment.
are.
No comment.
No.
But have you got any funny butterfly stories to finish us off, or
Advice?
advice, or funny story? Either.
Don't listen to all these idiots who tell you to kill this and kill that. No, let it all live. Live and let live. Even as we get plants and everything else. A bit iffy on wasps and that though.
Well, we'll have a talk about that in another episode.
Yeah.
So yeah, just look, if we can hit 500, that'd be like such a great. I think that's the goal for us, because if we can do that, then we can start getting people on board.
Yeah, it'd be nice to.
And the other thing is, we want to go to some sort of farm shows and stuff like that, and do some interviews with people like that. So if you've got any questions that you want to ask certain people, because we're not the experts at it, let us know, and we will go and do that and find the answers.
Okay. I would love to get my mate, but unfortunately he lives in Australia now. But he's so knowledgeable on butterflies and insects. He actually created and opened the London Butterfly House in Sand Park.
Wow.
And lovely man. But unfortunately, I don't think we'll be able to get him unless he pops over.
Well, we can get him online nowadays.
Yeah,
We're hoping to get Toby back on board online soon. So never know.
That's interesting. Yeah, that's interesting.
Oh, guess the technology's changed, hey. But
Yeah.
thank you for listening.
Yeah.
If you've got any questions, let us know. Or anything, we want to make this as weird and fun as possible. I know this last two have probably not been quite as fun or interesting, so hopefully interesting. But we need to.
We want to get weirder.
Yeah, we want to make it.
And if you got any suggestions to be more weird than what I am?
Weird and wonderful. That's what we want.
He's all right because he's straight. He's a young'un, isn't he? But we want, yeah. Any suggestions? Give us some suggestions. But lovely, wasn't it?
Yeah, well,
That'd
you
be
heard
lovely.
it from him, so let us know.